using the bevel tool is a really good way to get your big silhouette shapes down rather than just using it for like an edge definition. So for example, instead of just taking all my edges right here and putting a bevel on it like this, or using the bevel modifier, same thing. So instead of just doing it like this, instead using it for big shapes like this, right? And you know, this is no secret to any like experienced 3D artist. So if I just pull this out, creating like nice transitions right here, for example, you know, it's really good for stuff like this. Nice and smooth, get a lot of cool shapes that way. But what I don't see talked about a lot is something that I find really useful is using the percent limit method. So we have, oh, I mean, not limit method, sorry, but edge method right here, or length. So we offset is the default, but using percent is so useful. I just crank this up to 100%. I'm going to get doubles, but that's easy to fix. So I use this a lot because, say, like I need, you know, a perfect profile right here. If I want to get a nice curve in that, I just Control B it, and you know, I have a curve going from one point to the next. The problem doing it this way, though, is that if I get it wrong, I've got to do it again, undo, pull it down again, try again, and you know, get it to exactly what I want. I could also try doing 2, see what that's like. So if I just grab these 2 now and pull that up, then you can get some really cool shapes here, right? So something, there have been times where I've needed like a very specific like arc or curve or something. So for example, what I would typically do is just take like a flat plane, just the top of this. I'll just use the whole cube now so we can see it easily. I'm going to turn on auto smooth as well. Shade smooth. So if I pull this up and do Control B, sometimes like I need a curve that isn't so like, you know, a very specific profile of that curve. Or like, for example, I could use like right here. If I didn't want just this, like maybe I wanted it to be more oval. And percent is a great way to do that. But again, part of the problem is that this is destructive. And you have to guess a lot of the time. So yes, like you may have guessed, we use the modifier to do all this stuff. But how do you limit it? How do you get all that control with the modifier? So for anyone that doesn't know, I'll just be upfront. Just use edge weights is what it's called. I'll briefly describe that. So if I put a bevel modifier on this, and I'm going to cut it down the middle again, and I change the limit method to weight, what it's looking for now is edge weights. And how I set edge weights is up here in the N panel. I go on under item, and after I've made a selection, I change my bevel weight. I just scroll that all the way to 1 or anywhere in between really. Then I pull it up, and then look at, you can see I've got my bevel here. So I'll increase the segments, increase the offset, and yeah, there you go. So there's bevel weights. Now that you know about bevel weights, let's go into more control. So like right here, like this is where I can get a very, you know, precise curve, go all the way, and now I can just play with that and go, okay, where exactly do I want it? And then once I've got my shape, I can just apply it. Go, okay, now I can move on to other things. Do be mindful though that it is gonna keep these, so just take them off, pull this down to 1. I have a button on my mouse that sets this to 1 and sets it to 0 because I use this all the time. So if I ever do it quickly without thinking about it and I don't go over here, that's how I'm doing it. I made my own hotkey for it and set it to my mouse. So anyway, let's go back. Now another example for using this, another good use case. Excuse me. My voice is going to crack sometimes. I'm losing my voice. Anyway, so I put the bevel modifier back on, set the limit method to weight again. Now let's put it back on percent. And then I'm going to mark these as, put my bevel weight up to 1. And I just did that with my mouse. Now let's change the percent. Let's turn it up. Turn up the segments amount. So the nice thing, oh, and turn off clamp overlap as well. You don't really need it for percent, because it's not going to give you the results you want. It's going to stop the percent to, it's going to clamp it. The nice thing about using percent is you have full control over like how like oval or how round your bevels are. So in this case, I can just add another edge loop right here, and just I can control exactly where I want this. I'll give you another organic case. So like using it right here. Let's pull this up right here and pull this up and put a bevel weight on it to 1. Using my mouse again. Turn this on. Weight, percent, scroll that up. Segments, 62 segments, yikes. Turn off clamp overlap. And now, I can put another like bevel on top of this if I want. I won't do that right now. But now I can just like move this around and get, like, it behaves in a very subdivision surface way. It's a really good way to get a lot of these organic shapes. The problem with doing it this way, though, is that you're going to get doubles. That's an easy fix, though. So let me just, what have I done right there? Okay. So I'll go into wireframe and I'll show you. This is just like cranking any bevel up to the max. You're going to get doubles, right? So if I just watch this, this is my bevel, and taking it all the way to 100%, it's going to give me doubles. Now, if this was fine, and I was okay with this, then I could just hit apply and then remove any doubles right here. But let's assume you want to keep it non-destructive. That's a funny. It's like glitching out there. I don't know what that's about, but there we go. Don't know. But anyway, let's say if you want to keep it non-destructive, you just put a weld modifier on. So, and maybe there's an example that I'm going to show you next, which will better demonstrate the difference there. But anyway, so instead of having to just use 1, you could use 2, for example. So right here, if I put another bevel on that, this looks terrible. But change this to 50% and you get a nice, transition. Without the weld modifier, though, you are going to get these hard edges. Let's see right here as well. If I put these on and stick that on here and then shade smooth, see this seam right here? This is because of hard edges. Oops. So right here. So then you're going to need to put a weld modifier on to fix that if you want to keep it non-destructive. And this was added 2.1, I think. 2.81. Okay, so then we have this 50% thing. The drawback to this is that it's only going 50%, so you're not going to get this whole thing here. If I put on 100% and clamp overlap, it's not good. Just turn over clamp overlap, over clamp off, and you're going to get the results you want. So yeah, this is just a really nice method. It behaves kind of like Bezier curves or subdivision modeling. Anyway, the nice thing about using this method is just essentially you have so much control of your curvature, non-destructive control. I'll show you a real use case scenario where I needed this. So here is a lightsaber I've been making the high poly for. And right here I needed this exact curve. You can't just take those edges and just bevel those. You need to, I needed an exact curve and I need to play with it. I can't just like find, okay, yeah, if I put my edges right here, then I'm going to get this exact curve. Like, that's really hard to tell. So doing it non-destructively, I could play with it. So I could like pick this up and pull it down and get exactly where I needed it to be. But yeah, this is just using the same method right here. So, there's a Boolean. Is it this bevel right here? Nope, it's this one. Not that one. That one. So just the same method. Percent all the way up, and that's kind of cool too. But all the way up, and then it's followed by a weld modifier. And it's limited to the weights. What about all these other shapes, though? These are all done through Booleans. And I didn't use any add-ons for this. This is all native Blender. It was kind of a learning experience for me, just to see how non-destructive I could make it. But I'm also using the same method for these curves right here. Like, I wanted to get the curves just right, and I didn't want to just commit it the one time. So I made a completely new object. So this is my object before anything. And let's see, I'll just turn all those back on. And it's this. Oh, no, not that one. It's this one right here. So here's my object. Let me turn off all the modifiers too. So this is my modifier, or my object. And I always display my booleans as wire, but if I turn this to solid, this is all it is. So really simple stuff with just a bevel weight down the middle. And now if I turn on, like I got a mirror modifier on, then a bevel, and then I've got my weld modifier after it. But now I can just select this whole loop and just pull this up and get it exactly where I want. So easy. And let's unisolate this and put Y back on. And actually, I'm just gonna turn off overlays. And look, like right here, I have all this control. It's amazing. Yeah, it's gonna wig out, but that's just how booleans are. I don't know if that's the fix that they've been talking about doing. Anyway, so this is just an incredibly useful, non-destructive method to have full control over your curves. I absolutely love this. And I recommend doing this for anyone. Like, I use it all the time, and that's why I've got this Logitech G600 with all these buttons on. If I press this button, all these extra buttons have another function. But that's one of the functions I have, is edge weight on and off. I use this all the time. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. I hope it wasn't too rambly. I tend to ramble a lot, but yeah, there is a full explanation, and I'll see you next time.